Hi everyone, and welcome to today's talent branding webinar on our three-part series. Today we're going to focus on how you can power up your talent brand to attract top talent. So just to let you know, we will be recording the session, so there's obviously no need to take notes along the way. And just before we go into introductions, I just wanted to make you aware that unfortunately my colleague Philo, who was due to host with me today, has had to step out at short notice. But with that said, we have one of our amazing talent directors, Yvonne, that's kindly stepped in to support on today's webinar. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you on to Yvonne to introduce herself.
Thanks, Kelly. Hi, everyone. I'm Yvonne, and I'm one of the talent directors here at Talentful. So my role sits within the client experience team, and what we're here to do is essentially ensure that we provide an exceptional experience for our partners by A, helping them hire amazing people, and B, by helping them mature their existing talent functions. So this could be across the entire spectrum of recruitment, and we help with things like headcount planning, interview training, and more specific mandates like building out diverse candidate pipelines and so on. So my portfolio today includes Hopin, Lakestar, Find My Past and Harbour, so a real variety of clients, but it keeps it all interesting. Hopefully that gives you some insight into my background and what I do at Talentful.
So hi, I'm Kelly. I'm the head of talent branding here at Talentful. So I get to work with a number of really exciting global tech organizations in supporting them and improving their talent brand. So through data and insight, I help clients gain and understand how their brand is perceived in the market and provide creative solutions to get them there and get them noticed. So prior to working in a branding capacity, I was a tech recruiter. So I've worked at some really great e-commerce brands like Matches Fashion and On the High Street and Net-a-Porter. So I think my background really holds me in good stead in firstly really understanding the talent and candidate audience, but also understanding and appreciating the challenges that recruiters go through day to day. Just before starting, I just wanted to make you aware that there is an area of the webinar that is a bit interactive, some questions that Yvonne's going to go through. So please do feel free to get involved through the chat and submit your answers to the questions. And also please do feel free to add any questions along the way during the webinar, and we'll aim to answer as many as we can at the end. Right, so this is just a brief introduction into Talentful in case you've not heard of us before. So we're a 140 strong team of talent experts helping to build companies changing the world. And we do that through end-to-end recruitment delivery. And more recently, having launched our new talent brand services, we're offering services to support people and companies in improving their talent brand. Our consultants are embedded into high growth companies on a flexible basis, and they create really great recruitment processes and experiences for our clients. So we're really all over the place now. You can find Talentful in London, in Berlin, and this year we have broken into the States as well. So we're now in San Francisco, Austin and Boston, and we work with seed-backed tech startups all the way through to household names like Google and King.
Perfect. So let's quickly go through what we'll be covering today. So today's webinar will be all about talent branding, but from a talent attraction point of view. We will focus on how to attract your target audience, and we'll explore and share insights around what top talent find important in a remote first world. So how do you measure your employer brand? It's a question we often get asked by our clients, and hopefully by the end of today's session, you'll get a better understanding of the ways to measure success and prove your return on investment.
What is talent branding? So times have changed. I'm sure you can all agree with that. And attracting talent even before COVID is no longer about putting out a menu of business demands and waiting for hopeful candidates to line up at your door. Instead, what's really important to think about is what you as an organization can offer top talent, how you're different from your competitors, and also why people would want to join your mission over anyone else's. And this is what constitutes as your talent brand. So talent branding, as per the name, focuses on talent rather than the employer. It starts with comprehensive research and insight. That's the gathering phase. and it assesses what target talent really want to see from companies' talent brand and matching that to opportunities to amplify that company's identity and core values. This research really requires sophisticated surveying of both internal and external audiences that will provide powerful insight. And lastly, commitment to the talent branding process is essential for any business looking to differentiate their talent brand from their competitors. So talent branding, as we see it, is a much needed evolution of what's more commonly known as employer branding.
Awesome. So before going into further detail, let's kick this topic off with some questions that demonstrate the impact your candidate journey can have on your talent brand. So we've brought you some interesting stats for you today, so please submit your answers through the chat box. So the first question is, what percentage of job seekers consider a talent brand before applying for a job? I'll give you all about 15 seconds. All right, so the answer is actually 75%, so that's a whopping 3 out of 4 candidates, which shows how important it is to get your talent brand right. So for our second question, a strong talent brand leads to how many more qualified applicants? So the answer we're looking for here is a percentage, and again, please submit your answers through the chat box. Okay, great. So a strong talent brand leads to 50% more qualified applicants. So this stat again shows that talent branding has become even more important, and it can be a real game changer in highly competitive sectors where niche skill sets are in serious demand and there's a war for talent.
So what makes you stand out? So firstly, talent brand isn't a silver bullet. So there's so many contributing factors that influence how strong your brand becomes. So it's great to be going to market with amazing content and gaining loads of inbound traction. But if your interview process is broken, or what you display to people when they actually join your business doesn't match the reality, then it won't really work. And this can really break confidence both with candidates and new starters, and that can result in declined offers, for instance, and ultimately a bad review on Glassdoor. So when it comes to talent branding, it's important to remember that it does take time to build brand awareness. It's a long game, and research shows that it takes up to 8 brand touch points to influence a person to consider a company now or in the future. So I just want to take you through some key considerations to think about to make your company stand out. So the first one is start with why. So this might sound obvious, but take the time to consider why someone would want to join your organization over another. What sets you apart from your competitors? And this is where I'd really recommend gathering insight from your employees to understand what they love about working for your company, but also what they'd like to see improved. And this will really support you in defining what your messaging is to your external audience. So number 2, don't follow the crowd, be authentic. I hear all too often companies wanting to be like Google or Amazon. And of course, these brands are really inspirational. There's loads of learnings that can come from them. But a couple of things that are worth considering are, number 1, they weren't household names overnight. It did take time for them to build up their reputation and become household names. Number 2 is it doesn't mean that the talent they attract will be right for your organization at the stage of growth that you're at. So you make sure that you have a unique story, you have a powerful purpose that talent will be attracted to. So don't be afraid to be authentic. And talent branding isn't about attracting all talent, it's a targeted approach. So attracting the right talent and even repelling people that aren't interested in where you are in your growth or where you are in terms of your current culture, that is okay. So number 3 is talent brand strategy. So have a goal and have a plan to get there. So your approach to talent branding shouldn't be when the team has time, when we have a bit of downtime. It needs to be strategically thought out with a clear structure of what action needs to take place and when to really get results. The talent branding shouldn't be seen as a nice to have. It's a crucial value generator in any recruitment strategy. So data first approach, you can't make informed decisions without data. So at Talentful, we firmly believe that understanding what your audience wants is key to how you shape your messaging and attract the talent that you're after. So I've already touched on this, but surveys and gathering feedback from audiences across your talent and your employee life cycle is crucial in really understanding how you communicate throughout their experience with you. And there you'll also learn what you do particularly well, so you can do more of that, and also identify gaps that need more attention. So make your content count. So based on the data that you've collated, this can inform you on what sorts of content your target audience are interested in and what they want to know or hear about when considering an organization to work for, which really helps in setting you up for success and deciding what kind of content to produce and build. It's also really important that your talent brand is adaptable in talking to and engaging with different audiences. So as an example, the way that you talk to a person in a creative role versus an engineer, for instance, that will be different. And then last but not least, don't be afraid to test and learn. Building content and putting it out into the world can be scary, and you aren't going to get it right every time, and certainly not at the beginning of your journey. So understand what you're trying to achieve through every piece of content you put out is really important to make sure that you're measuring performance. So thinking, asking yourself questions, is this piece of content, are you putting it out to educate, to inform, or is it going to be a call to action?
Cool. So let's take a closer look at how COVID has changed the emphasis on talent branding. So the pandemic has undeniably had a huge impact on the talent market and ultimately on employer brands. Companies who are looking to take control of their talent brand during these unprecedented times will really need to shift their strategies and act appropriately, because I guess what mattered to talent previously might not stand in the new reality we're living in today. So it's clearly visible that certain aspects of our work life have gained significant importance in the past few months. Studies have suggested that the importance of balance and well-being, remuneration, elements of the workplace such as health and safety, and the company's mission and purpose have almost tripled in importance to talent during the pandemic. Talent on the market, but also employees, clearly feel differently about their employment now and what organizations are doing to respond to the crisis. All of these changes should be reflected in our talent brand strategies. So things are changing in so many directions, and during this time, talent teams must consider a new approach to marketing their talent brand. People are spending a lot more time online and on social media, and they're reading the news more often, and the large majority of us are still working from home. So talent branding is definitely not business as usual, and companies will need to take stock and review how they're responding to this new reality. Companies who are trying to build their talent brand during these times should really consider reviewing their current strategy and pay particular attention to channels they use, their tone of voice, the visuals, and make some tweaks to stay authentic but also appropriate. You might want to consider putting extra resource into social media and content. This is also a really great time to focus on community building, even if you're not hiring. So a lot of our clients are using this time to inform their community on how they're managing the situation. You should really consider what content your candidates need to see and hear, because now feels like the time of maximum transparency. It goes without saying, but in response to the new reality, you should be changing your hiring processes to accommodate remote interviews. And you can also use this time to train your hiring team on how to best conduct effective offsite interviews. The worst thing that companies can do in these times is just to assume it's business as usual for their talent brand. What worked in the past definitely might not work during the pandemic, and going silent, even if you're not hiring, is definitely not the right tactic either. There's so many ways to stay in front of your community and bring meaningful content to them during these times, and waiting for the storm to pass and stopping investing in your talent brand is not the way forward. So in the past few months, we've seen different approaches from brands in terms of their response to the new reality. And the three most common practices are what we're calling the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the best possible approach is the people first approach, which we practice here internally at Talentful, as do many of our clients in our portfolio. So this is when brands put their employees at the center of everything they do. They recognize the increased importance of balance and well-being, and they actively help guide them through this change. They also use a huge amount of their time to take stock, innovate, and have time to reflect, which will ultimately have a positive impact on their talent brands. The polar opposite of this approach is a profits first approach, where companies continue as a business and compromise their employees' health, safety, and well-being to protect profits. We saw this approach at many retailers who branded themselves as essential businesses and stayed open during the peak of the pandemic with minimal care for health of their employees. There's an equally bad approach to dealing with the new reality, which is where there's a total lack of empathy and clear communication coming from management. This will make your employees feel isolated, undervalued, or just underappreciated. The total lack of empathy also means imposing unrealistic expectations towards your employees. So without naming any names, we know some companies have asked their employees to respond to emails and messages within only 10 minutes. So the conclusion here is that the way you respond to the new reality can really help show your community and potential talent how you treat them as an employee. Thus, it will have a massive impact on your brand perception and the ability to attract and retain talent.
Great. So how to measure success? So I think we can all agree that the only way to really prove your return on investment on anything is to lean on data and insights. And this is how you can frame a business case and gain more support with investment and buy-in from budget holders or even your exec team. So it's essential that these metrics are in place to regularly track your progress and support you with feedback when certain activity isn't giving you the results that you're after, and it gives you an opportunity to pivot and change tact if you need to. So measuring success can be a bit of a minefield, and often people don't know where to start when it comes to measuring their talent brand and how to prove the return on investment. So the first thing that you need to start with is decide on what your talent branding goals are. So there is no universal one-size-fits answer to this. It will be completely unique depending on where you are in your journey and what you're trying to achieve. So this therefore informs the metrics that you're measuring and what qualifies as success for your company. So below is just a list of metrics that you could consider using. So I'm not suggesting you start measuring everything at once. As I say, these need to really relate to your goals and how better. And I guess the best approach is to start with maybe 2 to 3 metrics initially. Keep them really focused and see what results you can get from them, rather than taking a scattergun approach. So as I mentioned, being selective on your talent branding metrics based on your unique situation is key. I just wanted to really highlight these top 4 metrics to show you the impacts investing in your talent brand and what the impact can make if you do that. So number 1 is time to hire. So according to a survey done by one of our partners, Workable, 9 out of 10 candidates would apply for a job when it's from a talent brand that's actively maintained. So with that in mind, businesses are achieving a 50% faster time to hire rates. Companies also tend to see a real injection of inbound applications and furthermore, a better ratio of response to recruiter outreach on platforms like LinkedIn. Cost per hire, so a strong talent brand can help reduce your cost per hire by as much as 43% or higher, which is significant. And on the flip side of that, companies with a negative reputation see costs of at least 10% more per hire. So the more engaging and consistent your content mixed with internal brand ambassadors really results in you becoming an employer of choice and reducing cost activity. So better quality of hire, what company doesn't want to attract high quality candidates in the market? And it's such a fiercely competitive market, you've got to stand out from your competitors if you want to do just that. So companies with a positive reputation as an employer receive more applicants who are a better fit and 50% more qualified. And then last but not least, engaged employees and enhanced retention rates. So your talent brand doesn't just have an impact on your potential candidate, it definitely still affects your current employees too. So if your organisation is an environment that really motivates someone to stay engaged and committed to your business, you will have more productive employees who perform better. In addition to that, their loyalty, through their loyalty, they'll become organic brand ambassadors who naturally recommend people to come and work at your organisation, and they will go on to spread the word and tell people about your company. And one of the biggest benefits of employer branding is employee engagement. And according to a survey by Office Vibe, employee turnover can be reduced by as much as 28%. So I just wanted to share this very simple example of a template to support you measuring your success over time. So first place to start is really deciding on the metrics that you want to measure, establish what your current baseline is, so gaining that data, and that will really give you a clear indication of where to focus your efforts and attention on, and it gives you an opportunity to set goals. You'll then see I've added dummy data in the example, but what I wanted to really highlight is that you can measure different parts of your business, so whether that be on a global scale, local scale, and also by department. So your average rejection rate, for example, may be your biggest focus area at the moment. So being able to measure the impact of your proactive activity not only gives you feedback on what is and isn't working well, but will show over time how you're moving the dial and improving that particular metric. So as I mentioned earlier, Talentful recently launched our talent branding service offering. So this is just a brief introduction into what our new service offers. So if you are interested in finding out more, definitely go and check out our website. So we start projects off with data, partnering with brand intelligence platform Attest. We conduct an 8-week in-depth talent brand audit to learn what people are saying about you in the tech market and within your own company. And at the end of this discovery phase, you're going to receive a detailed report of what makes you stand out and where you can improve. We'll then provide you with the next steps of what actions are needed to achieve your ultimate goal, which is to attract, engage, and hire top talent. And then, as always, taking a data-led approach to creative, we work with our in-house studio who build bespoke solutions that will help tell your story, highlight your unique culture, values, and vision. Right, so this is just an example of the sorts of things that we offer here through our in-house production studio. So we do video content, we run photography, we work with really great journalists on written content, and everything that we do in the space is research backed. We have great creative designers and developers to support in building career websites. And finally, social media strategy and social media calendars that we can support businesses with and really helping them to push out their message and reach their audience. So we definitely practice what we preach. So we recently filmed a remote culture video, which is currently on our website. So Yvonne made an appearance on this. Which was quite fun, I'm sure she'll agree, and we're looking to launch another video in the coming days, so definitely look out for that. So yes, go and have a look.
Fabulous. So before we head on to the questions that have come through on the chat, just wanted to let you know of the next 2 episodes in this series. So on the 24th of September, we'll be launching episode 2, which is maintaining a strong brand when engaging with talent. And to complete the series, we'll be looking at building a remote culture to retain your talent on the 8th of October. So please stay tuned.
Right, so if there's anything else that you'd like to talk through or find more information on, do check out our website, so talentful.com. Our talent branding offering can also be found under services on our website. And finally, if you do want to reach out to either myself or Yvonne, do so over email or LinkedIn.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for your time today, guys. Let's have a look at the questions that have come through. Kelly, do you want to pick the first one?
Yeah, so we're just going to randomly select them. Okay, so one that's come through is, what advice would you give to companies who are in scale-up phase? So we have a talent brand, but it no longer resonates. So I think this is really common. I think a lot of businesses get into scale-up phase, maybe in these sort of teen years, and they suddenly think, oh my goodness, our values and our culture no longer are the same as what they were before. And I think it gives a real opportunity to reinvent yourselves. So first thing is start with data, really understand, what your employees think about you now. How do they connect with your values? And I think as much as possible, try and involve them in creating your culture and what it all stands for, rather than doing a top-down approach. The next one, I might pass over to you, Yvonne. So this one is, do you have any advice on specific pieces of content that do well in the market for attracting talent?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we mentioned before, understanding what your target audience is attracted to and interested in is obviously your best tactic. So keep the content varied and know what you're trying to gain from posting any piece of content so it can be measured and you can take learnings from it. So 100% get your people involved. Your brand ambassadors should be the ones helping you push this content out and be a part of it. So quite often this lands with the people team, but it's definitely a collective effort. Talent want to hear directly from your employees about their experiences of a company. So whether it's a video or a written piece of content, it really helps someone looking for a new role resonate with your culture if they can sort of connect with different bits of content. So video is always a great shout because it puts a face to a company.
Great, thank you. So we're just going to take one last one before we close today. So the last one is, if you had limited budget to start with, just one thing for your talent branding, what would you pick? So for me, this is an absolute no-brainer. I think you have to start with data, and all of the data that you collate and the insights and conversations that you're having will really inform what your talent brand is today and where you need to really improve on it, and really kind of grow your audience and be able to talk to that audience to attract them to your organization. So without a shadow of a doubt, invest in data. Great, well, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much to everybody who participated today. Thank you for your questions as well. As I say, please feel free to reach out to myself and Yvonne to carry on the conversation. We really hope that was insightful, and please do join us for the rest of our webinars in the series. Thank you, goodbye.
Bye.